Hello guys, it's your boy Doglightning, and I'm a Grandmaster Nico Samort main from Season 10, and I'm here to bring you my Ivern support guide. Ivern support is something I've been playing here, there, all last season, and I've been playing it a lot this season too, and I figured it's time to write a guide for it considering he's getting Giga buff this patch. So TLDR, I'll start off with everything you need to know and go in depth, so if you just want to see what I do, just watch the first couple minutes here. So just quickly going over, defensive page with Guardian so that you're safer. Aggressive page with Airy, you auto attack on Ivern is his trade pattern, so Airy's really good, plus the defensive with the shield. And I have a counter jungle Ivern strat, which I run Unsealed Spellbook with Smite, so if you want to figure out how I do that, just wait a little bit. There's Exhaust for defensive, Ignite for offensive. You can start either Relic Shield or Spell Thieves. I kind of like starting Spell Thieves because I like the mana regen, but in most matchup you can't really efficiently proc it, and you might be better off just getting Relic Shield, but either one's good. For the counter jungle strat, you start with Hail Blade, and you first back into your Spell Thieves because you need Hail Blade to hit level 2 first. Again, I'll explain it in a little bit more in depth. Here are some builds. My normal build, when in my default, Moonstone with Staff of Flowing Water, really good on him, or if you want to snowball and get really far ahead, Imperial Mandate with Magides is also really good, with some optional items you can throw in. So for your ability order, you go Emax into Qmax into Wmax, really standard for Ivern. You want to get your shield really big and low cooldown since it's really impactful in team fights. And the other order is starting with Q if you're going to be counter jungling or invading or anything like that. So introduction, you know me, I just said I'm Doglightning. So I'll start with the counter jungle strategy. So why Smite on Ivern works, Ivern has a passive that he marks a camp, and after a certain amount of time, you can come back and kill it for free. But if you have Smite, you can instantly kill it. So what this means is if level 1 you steal a camp, you can walk up, mark a camp, and smite it, and steal a camp from the enemy jungle level 1, and they fall behind. Just FYI, you can play Ivern without this strategy. I've been playing it recently without this strategy, but this is a strategy you can do. So the main thing about this strategy is you have to start the Hail Blade, which is your jungle item. This gives you bonus EXP and gold when you kill a camp. So you want to mark the camp and execute it with Smite, and you'll hit level 2 off this. And that's the main strategy. So how I get the invades off is if you look at this little mini map down here, maybe I can zoom in a little bit for you guys. So level 1, when I invade, as soon as the game starts, I walk up to this ambush if I'm on the blue side, or this bush if I'm on the red side, and you walk up and you throw a Q into this bush to make sure there's no enemy jungler or anyone sitting there. If there's no one in there, you walk over and get a ward over the wall, and you reset for Sweeper. You want Sweeper because when you're walking into the enemy jungle level 1, you want to make sure you're not walking over vision and won't get collapsed on. Now, say if you walk over and you hit the enemy jungler into this camp, it's okay, just walk up and ward this J bush and back. If you have to ward this J bush and back, you're probably not going to be able to get a buff because it'll be too risky. I'll go into both scenarios. So let's just start off with the scenario that you get the ward. So you come back and you kind of hover around here and you just wait. Once it spawns, if you see the enemy jungler on the red buff, you walk down this way and you queue over the wall and take the blue. If you don't see the enemy jungler on this buff, you just walk in and take it because that means they started on the blue buff. That's the point of getting the ward, so you can see which buff they started at and steal the one they didn't go to. Now, it's really important when you're doing this also to watch your lane. So if you're going for the top buff, just wait, just chill. Wait till you see mid lane show and you see top lane show. Once you see both lanes show, go for it. Now, if they don't show, that means they could be waiting to cheese you in this bush or something, and you just wait, because honestly, if they're waiting for you here, that means they're losing EXP and CS top, and yes, you're falling behind, but you're an Ivern support. Are you really falling behind? Not really. So just wait until you see the laners show. Same thing if you go to the blue, make sure you see the support show. If they don't show, there's also the option, which is this is the option also. So if you can't get a ward in the bush here and you can only get it here, or if you're scared of getting killed, take the Wraith camp. Take the Wraith camp. You can even take the Wolf camp if you think the support's guarding the blue. Just take one of the camps. Like, for instance, if you take this Wraith camp, you hit level 2 and you come around and cheese gank level 2 mid, right? It's really good still. So don't greed for the buffs if you're really worried. If you don't have vision or you think someone might be cheesing you, just take the Wraith camps. They're really, really safe to take. I mean, I've even done games where I have a ward here. I see the enemy jungler on red and I just go over and take his Wraith while he's doing red and then walk bot, right? So that's the overall strategy of how I do this. I will say that he works very well without the smite strategy. I would say the smite strategy works best if you have a really bad bot lane where you can't really get kills early and they just want to AFK farm, like Ezreal ADC, who's really good at farming 1v2. If you have a mage bot like a Veigar, Cassiopeia, any mages in the bot lane, this is really good. Make sure you let your laners know that level 1 you won't be bot until the second wave. So the first wave, they just let it push in them, and then you'll get bot by the second wave. And then when the first Scuttle Crab spawns, you want to see if you can contest that and take it away. The main thing is when you get get your first back, make sure you sell your jungle item for a support item. So anyways, let's move on to pros and cons. Pros, he's got good peel with his shields and his thing. He has great vision control. Your W Bushmaker can give vision of bushes, so you can use that to not face check. Really good dragon control with his bushes. You can set up a wall so that they can't see you doing it and they have to face check. And he scales really well with Daisy giving a lot of disruption in team fights. Really good. Cons, he's team reliant. He relies on your team for everything. He can't really kill anyone by himself. You can get caught stealing camps. You have to be very careful. Not much lane prio. He's really, you play safe until 6. At 6 with Daisy, you can win. Your team might tilt. This is a real big one that happens all the time for me. And Daisy is really hard to use well. You have to be able to micromanage her. It's like you have to play 2 champs at the same time. So those would be the cons. But the pros are really good. So summoner spells, Flash obviously is really good. Oh, awkward. I didn't change that from my other guide. Ignite to reduce the heals. Really good. If you ignite before the heal, it reduces by half. Exhaust because Ivern is really weak in lane and you just want something to help you not int early so you can get 6. And obviously you can take Smite for the Chi strat. So for Resolve, we got our first tree. So this is if you're playing versus really extremely like scary lanes and you just want to be safe. So you can take Guardian, really good. Font of Life is great because if people auto attack who you CC, they get your Staff of Flowing Water buff and your Ardent Censer buff. If you throw your E shield on someone and an AoE blows up on a bunch of people, now a bunch of people are marked and can get these buffs, so really good. But if you want some extra lane pressure, Shield Bash is really good too. These 3, just depending on the lane, conditioning for scaling, Second Wind versus Poke, and Bone Playing versus all-in lanes. Revitalize is amazing because Ivern has a really low cooldown shield and you can spam it, so definitely this is your default. But if you're facing a high CC team, there's nothing wrong with unflinching. Then for secondaries, I personally would run Transcendence and Water Walking. Water Walking is really good early because you can walk up and down the river really quick. And Transcendence, Ivern loves CDR, but you can also go for Relentless Hunter and Zombie Ward to give you some more late game scaling. This gives you better early roams, and this gives you good CDR. If you go this path, I would usually go Moby Boots. And if you go this path because you're missing the CDR, I would usually go Ionian Boots, right? You got your kind of Relentless Hunter for Mobies here or Mobies here kind of thing. Sorcery, Area is really good on Ivern. You're always auto-attacking a lot and you're getting a lot of Airy Brush procs. Really good. Also, you have a low cooldown shield that you'll be spamming, so you'll be getting the defensive portion a lot. Mana Flow Band, just so you don't run out of mana, obviously. Transcendence, best stat on Ivern is Ability Haste. For your last tree, I usually go Water Walking. I really like the movement speed up and down river, but you can go Scorch for lane prio, or you can go Gathering Storm to scale. With this tree, I usually run the Relentless Hunter part because I like the move speed. It means I can get Ionian Boots here and I can get an extra that CDR on top. Really good. But you can also go Boots and Mobility and take this defensive tree. This will scale. This will give you late game vision and good roaming. This will give you better team fights later when you have bigger shields and the AoE damage, giving you those like Staff of Flowing Water procs and stuff to your team. So finally, this is my counter jungle strat. On my counter jungle strat, I take Spellbook. The reason I take Spellbook is because Smite is kind of useless in team fights and stuff, so you can do your early cheese, and then at the 6-minute mark, you get your first spell. You can swap it out, and you can keep swapping it out for more useful summoner spells, so it makes pretty good use of the fact that you have a useless sum because you can swap them out. At the 6-minute mark, if you stole the enemy's top lane buff, at the 6-minute mark, you can swap for teleport, and then you can TP top and steal their buff on respawn to take their first and second spawn. Or if you hit level 6 and you just want to play for lane, you can take Exhaust, and you'll probably just win it all in with Exhaust and Daisy. Ghost is great for rotating to fights mid-game. Heal and Barrier, good defenses if you're getting dived or want to help your teammates. Hex Flash is really good because you can do some cheesy Hex Flash plays that are really good. You can Hex Flash over like the Dragon Pit to get in and steal a camp and then come back out and Hex Flash back out. Perfect timing, can't go wrong. It'll be good at some point. Biscuit Delivery is just, most Ivern mains would be getting Futures March It in the jungle, but in the support role, I like Biscuit Delivery. It allows you to just spam shields and make sure you can get through that early phase. Cosmic Insight reduces the flash cooldown by 40 seconds, which is always nice. Or Time War Tonic is great for the insta-heal versus maybe some harder matchups where they're getting bursted. With this strategy, I would usually run the Water Walking, mostly because you're going the Chi Smite. You're not going to be in lane till later. This only gives you 5 move speed level 1. This gives you 25 up and down the rivers. So this will give you the most move speed to get back to lane as quick as possible. And free CDR, what can go wrong? All right, abilities. Like I said, your passive, you mark a camp and you can consume it for free or use your smite to get it instantly. Root Collar is like a Morgana bind, except the only difference is if your teammates or you auto attack it, it brings you into auto attack range. Same with Daisy. Daisy will target the Q. Your W places bushes. When you're standing in the bushes, you get extra auto attack damage. Also, your bushes can get you face check. They give you vision, so you can check bushes with them. Yeah, use bushes to check bushes. Haha. Also, your W is really good for vision denial. I like to do a thing where I place a bush by river and stand in it, but then I actually sneak out and go up river, and the enemy ball lane has to respect the fact that you might be in that bush. So it's kind of like your ADC has a 2v2, but you're actually like ganking mid. So use it for vision control things. Another cool trick is if the enemy team puts a control ward in Baron, you can't put a regular ward at Baron because it'll be swept, but if you put a bush over the wall and put your ward in the bush, no longer will the control ward see it, so it makes it really hard for the enemy team to have vision on Baron without you being able to get vision back. Trigger Seed is just a shield that blows up for AoE slow and damage. Really good. You can throw it on Daisy and walk Daisy in and it'll slow them and Daisy can get her knock up off. Really good for your ADC when they're getting dove, or just throwing it on your front line who's going to be diving the enemy back line and AoE like slowing everyone. Really good ability. Super underrated. If you compare it to a Janna shield, it has the same base shield stats, so it's the same as a Janna shield, except it has a better AP ratio, so it's actually bigger on a lower cooldown. So it's a lower cooldown, bigger Janna shield. It's really good. Daisy, you summon a big rock monster. You control it by pushing R where you want it to go. It'll auto attack a person 1, 2, 3 times. On the third attack, it'll smash the ground and knock people up. Super good. You can use it to engage for your team. You can use it to get vision control. You can use it to peel. It's like having a 6th player on your team. You can do a lot with Daisy. So I would recommend playing around with her in practice tool. I know I did. She's really hard to use well, but she's very, very she makes the difference in a lot of fights if you're good with her. So I would do it. So standard playstyle, start E. You want to be able to deny the enemy team from poking your ADC out early. So we start E, into Q, into W. You max E for the big shields. If you're going counter jungle strategy, or if you're invading or defending an invade, you might want Root Collar. Root Collar is really good when you're invading because you can throw it over the wall onto the red buff and then hop the wall and steal it, hit level 2, and have both your E and Q. So really good. Starting items, like I said, Spell Thieves is good. You might fall behind in gold to the enemy support, but the extra mana regen can be useful in lane. Relic Shield is also amazing. You have a little less mana regen, but the ability to control the wave is really good considering Ivern's really weak early, so both these are fine, whatever. It's really personal preference at this point. This jungle item is to hit level 2 off your first camp. If you're going for the counter jungle strat, you have to do this, or else you'll just like be super behind in EXP. So you take this with some potions. Cool fact is you might think you're wasting gold by buying this, but I've done the calculations. Because you can start this with a refillable potion, the actual gold you save, think about most games you have to spend 100 gold on regular pots and then you have to buy refillable. That's basically 100 gold down the game drain that you spent on regular pots. This one is you start with refillable, you're not wasting gold on regular pots, and you actually can sell the refillable for 90 gold, so you're even in that sense even saving more money. And I've calculated the cost of the amount of money you get back from this and the amount of money you saved. You can see it costs 350 and the sell price is 245. But you're saving 100 gold on the potions you can't get back. So that actually means that you're net neutral on buying this and selling it again. You're not losing anything, and you're getting gold from stealing camps. And also the refillables are value because they're refillable and you can sell them for gold. So you can actually think you're actually positive doing this strategy of using this and then selling it after first back. You just have to make sure on first back you sell it for your support items because you need to start getting your quests completed for your wards. You'll be a bit behind on it from the enemy support, but you'll be putting the enemy jungle behind. Dark Seal is a great item if you have an awkward back like 650 gold and you can get boots and Dark Seal. Really gold efficient. So boots, if you have Relentless Hunter, I'd recommend for sure Ionian boots. Really good CDR, just great. If you don't have Relentless Hunter, I would usually go Moby boots because you want to be able to get around to fights ASAP. Being able to get in time to give a shield to a teammate is huge. If you don't have enough for Moby boots and you want to still be roaming, you can go for Swifties, or if they have lots of slows. And if they have a ton of CC, you can't go wrong with Merc Treads. So core items, I almost always go Moonstone. Moonstone is amazing. You can get in combat by hitting a Q on an enemy. You can get in combat by throwing a shield on a teammate who's in combat. But best of all, Daisy in a team fight will always keep you in combat. Daisy, when you throw into the enemy team, 100% uptime on Moonstone, and you can get ridiculous healing, like 5k, 10k healing off this item in a game, just because of the fact solely that Daisy in teamfights keeps you permanently in combat, so really good. Now, if you're snowballing, Imperial Mandate's still great. Think about your shield is an AoE slow. That means it's applying AoE marks to people around, so if you throw it on your Jax, right, and Jax jumps into the back, now Jax AoE slows the enemy team with your shield. Now he auto attacks someone and gets a speed boost. You're basically, with this item, able to slow the enemy with your E and then give your teammates speed boost at the same time. So really good still, but I think it's a bit worse than Moonstone unless you're snowballing hard. Staff of Flowing Water is amazing. When you combo this with Moonstone, you're basically in combat in a team fight because Daisy's keeping you permanently in combat. That means you're permanently keeping Moonstone up, which means you're permanently keeping Staff of Flowing Water up on teammates, which is giving teammates move speed and AP, but more importantly, giving you move speed and AP the whole time, which is really good if you get Boots of Mobility, because when you get Boots of Mobility, you're going to be moving really slow when you're in a team fight because you're losing that move speed, but you make it back from the Staff of Flowing Water, so super, super good with Moonstone, and obviously your shields just give it in general. You can also get Ardent Sensor if you have a lot of attack speed champions. Again, Moonstone will be proccing this on people. I still prefer Staff of Flowing Water. I think it's just a better item. It's just so good, but if you're an all AD team, you can get this. I would usually get this after Still of Flowing Water. If the enemy team has a bunch of poke and you want to be able to sustain your team, say they have a Xerath who's chunking your team, you can get yourself a Redemption. They have Assassins diving your ADC, can't go wrong with Knight's Vow. If they have a ton of CC, Mikhail's like a Morgana Bind. If you're getting one shot by like a Rengar, someone run-shotting you, you can always get Azanya's. And if they have a bunch of ADs diving your back, like a Jax, Yi, and stuff, AoE attack speed range slow is pretty good from Frozen Heart, so don't underestimate that. So early game, this isn't going through the counter jungle strat. This is going as if you didn't do the counter jungle strat. Yeah, so you're not very strong in lane until 6 when you get Davy. However, you have really good ganks and can play really well off your jungler. This is why you want to roam as much as possible, and this is why I also like to take water walking. So you're basically playing safe till 6 for Daisy, shielding your ADC and not trying to be too aggressive, and trying to roam to your jungler as much as possible with water walking. In lane, you should generally just be shielding your ally to pound damage and looking for root collars. If your ADC has a strong all-in, you can make picks off of these or get ganks. If not, just play safe. And yep, like I said earlier, use your Bushmaker to create pressure. Nothing's worse than completely Bushmakering off the river and then being able to just sit there and you can just roam up the river or just chill and the enemy team has to respect you. Once you hit 6, you're online. Like I said, with Daisy, you can literally just wait for the enemy team to blow some cooldowns, like a Nautilus misses a hook, and then you just throw Daisy in with a shield at the enemy ADC, and Daisy will literally, like, I have games where my ADC just runs it down without me, dies, and then I go in 1v2 with Daisy and actually just win. Like, Daisy is so strong, so don't underestimate. So mid lane, you should be trying to roam with your jungler, but definitely getting vision control around the mid lane and around objectives before they spawn. Again, use Bushmaker to get pressure. So if you're leaving your ADC 1v2 mid or whatever, just put some bushes down so that they have to respect the fact that you could be there. You have really good dragon control. You can put a control ward on the dragon and then put bushes to block off the entrance so that the enemy has no way to see what's going on in there, and they have to actually face check the bush. It makes it really hard for them to do anything. Also, when you're team fighting, don't overextend for auto attacks and stuff. Your auto attacks are just not worth it at that point in the game. It's worth it in early ganks and like lane, but in team fights, it's not worth to auto attack. You're better off, in my opinion, to just be throwing shields on your teammates and then playing as if you're Daisy. So usually what I'll do is I'll put a bush down in the team fight and sit in it so that the enemy can't see me, and I'll throw off my shield and my Q, and while it's on cooldown, I'll basically be playing as if I'm Daisy, walking around as Daisy, and then when my shield and stuff comes off, I'll give it to some teammates and kind of AFK in the bush. It's really hard to micromanage Daisy and yourself at the same time, so you're better off just playing as if you're Daisy while your abilities are on cooldown, and when your abilities are off, put Daisy on autopilot for a second and give it. A cool trick with Daisy is she does her 1-2, and then on her third auto attack, she smashes. Sometimes the enemy will outrange it by walking away, and it's wasted, but you can actually cancel Daisy's auto attack by clicking and force her on the third auto attack to walk in closer first and then hit it. So that's why I'm saying it's really important to micromanage Daisy in the fight so that you make sure you're actually hitting those knockups on the key targets. Anyways, that was a mouthful, guys. I hope you guys enjoyed this. Again, Ivern's getting giga buffed this patch right now. It should be live as this video is going up, so I hope you guys enjoy. Like, comment, and subscribe, and please come check out my Twitch. I stream weekdays. I'll be playing Ivern all day today, and I'll probably be picking it up throughout the week every now and then just because I find this champ so fun, and I hope you guys enjoy it.